What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex, and you're watching The Road to TF5. This is just Webster's. We're talking about Transformers 5. This is episode number 40. And of course, we got to talk about Transformers 5. Pre-production is well underway, but before we get into that, we got to do a couple of really quick shout-outs. Happy belated birthday to Ben Madison, and happy 32nd birthday to Corey. Happy birthday, guys. Hope you guys have a good one, and thanks for being part of the Ragin Nation. Also, really quick shout-out to a couple of really cool Ragin Nation members out there in Asia, specifically Singapore. What's up to Gary Chan, and also what's up to Isaac Ng Cheng Heen over out there in Malaysia. And thank you for sharing with me this Chinese New Year Transformers video at this McDonald's. Apparently, over out there in Malaysia, they get together at this McDonald's and they have a Transformers event on their Chinese New Year, and then they just showcase all the Transformers. It's a pretty cool event. I've been to toy shows, I've been to conventions, but I've never ever celebrated Transformers on a Chinese New Year in a McDonald's. Anyways, that's really cool. Check out the video. I'm going to leave you the link in the description box below. But anyways, let's talk about Transformers 5. Got a really quick video for you guys. I came across this website, Detroit Free Press, and the headline reads, Transformers 5 gets $21 million in Michigan incentives. Now, let's get right into that. I'm just going to read you a couple of excerpts from this article. Transformers 5 will film in Detroit this summer in a big way thanks to some creative transformation of previously approved Michigan film incentives. The Michigan Film and Digital Video Office confirmed Friday that the hit Paramount franchise is returning to the Motor City for what sounds like a substantial stay. The deal was achieved as a result of a plan that takes $42 million in the film incentives approved for Paramount projects before the state's program was eliminated in 2015 and uses half of that amount for a single amended agreement for Transformers 5. The restructuring of the $42 million was essentially will save the state $21 million and allot the remaining $21 million to Transformers 5, according to the film office. Why are these incentives still in play after the abolishment of the program? As the film office explained in the announcements, deals that were approved before the incentives were ended still must be honored. But since Paramount hadn't begun filming on the production involved, state statute makes such reallocation possible. Transformers 5 expects to spend $80 million in the state during production. It anticipates hiring 450 Michigan residents as part of an estimated 850 cast and crew hires. There also will be a need for 700 extras, and I'm going to just end it right there. Now, what does all this mean in English? Well, what this means in the short version, the short simplistic version, is that Transformers 5 will film in Detroit. They will also film in Chicago, in Iceland, in the UK, but they will film most of the scenes, most of the filming will be done in Detroit, Michigan. And they are going to be putting a lot into the economy. After all, when they were filming Transformers Age of Extinction back in summer of 2013, they stayed there for quite some time, did a lot of explosions. They recreated Hong Kong there, and it was a pretty big deal. They're going to do more or less of the same kind of thing in Detroit. They're going to spend a lot of money, which means that a huge part of the filming will take place there. And of course, a huge part of the film will take place on American soil. So that's what that means. Considering the fact that they're going to need a lot of extras, a lot of crew, and they're going to be spending millions of dollars in Detroit, means that something huge is going to happen in the scenes that are going to be filmed in Detroit. Is it going to be a big battle? Are we going to see a lot of transformations and Transformers there? A lot of character moments for the Transformers? That's most likely going to happen, especially since they're requiring all these extras, all this money, and all this money spent on production means that something huge is going to happen. We don't know anything about the story, but we do know that something huge is going to go down in Detroit. We don't know when, but it is going to happen. So that's what that means. Okay, so that's really all the news I got to talk about in this video. I mean, we knew that they were going to film in America. We knew it was going to be in Chicago and Detroit and Iceland and also in Ireland. But maybe even in London. But we did not know how much of the filming was going to happen in each of these locations. But now we know that a substantial amount will be filming in Detroit. I'm pretty sure Michael Bay has a pretty good relationship with the city, the mayor. After all, they did do a great positive thing for the city filming there. So they're back, just like how Michael Bay is going to be back in Chicago. So that's pretty good news. Pretty good news for the people who are going to be there. It's going to be quite exciting. After all, you know what Michael Bay does. He does a lot of big things, meaning big explosions. So that's all I really got to talk about in this video. I mean, this is a pretty huge deal, but this is just the beginning. There's going to be a lot more. So for the rest of the time in this video, I want to take a moment to answer questions from Ragin Nation fans. I got a couple of questions sent to me from the fans, and I want to respond to them on this video. I got 3 questions here, and before I answer them, I just want to mention and also reiterate that I am not in any way affiliated with the production of Transformers 5. I have no connection with Paramount, no connection with Hasbro. I am just a fan. You guys should already know this. There is absolutely no reason why I know more than anybody else out there. All the information is out there on the internet. I just gather this information and provide my opinion and my feedback, and that should be the only reason why you are asking me and sending me questions. It's because you want to know what my response is and how I feel about certain things. I do not have definitive answers. So when I answer something, there should be no reason why you should respond with, well, how do you know? You don't work for the production. How would you know? So I'm just providing my opinion, okay? So let's just start off with this question now that we're clear on that. From Tyler Combs. I just got done watching the video speculation for Bumblebee spinoff, and at the video, Alex asked, who do you think Bumblebee should fight? Well, in my personal opinion, I think he should fight Knockout because he had a very pleasant role in Transformers Prime, and I think it's time for him to have an appearance on the big screen. What do you guys think? I think Knockout is a great choice. Knockout did have quite a presence in Transformers Prime. I don't know how much of the Transformers Prime lore they're going to take from it, but Knockout is definitely a great choice. I mean, he's definitely not going to be fighting anybody who we previously saw in the last 4 films, that's for sure, but they're going to have to start pulling from the rest of the Transformers lore out there. And I'm pretty positive that they're going to pull somebody who at least had some sort of conflict with Bumblebee. So Knockout is a pretty good choice. I didn't really take the time to think about any other choice, but I think that Knockout is a good one. And if they do get Knockout, I think with what they've done in the writer's room, they're going to be able to put more depth to his character. The same, or not, maybe not the same, but at least a sufficient amount of depth to his character that would be that will have some sort of reference to the way he is in Transformers Prime. I don't think they're going to make cookie-cutter villains with names slapped on them. I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're actually going to provide some justice to these characters. So that's what I think. Next question comes from Mud Shafiq Hamka. Alex, one more question that I need to ask. What are the chances of Glenn and Maggie or other previous characters returning for the future Transformers films? Well, Maggie and Glenn not coming back. This is something I do know. Because Transformers Age of Extinction was in some ways a bit of a reboot, if you will. You know what? A lot of people don't like to say the word reboot, but I'm still going to use it anyways, just because it was a way for them to change things up in a significant way, mainly with the cast members, both human and robot. They're of course going to keep Bumblebee and Optimus Prime, but they're going to change them up. They're going to change them up as much as possible. As for the rest of the Autobot and Decepticon characters, or evil characters, they're going to also change them up. But as for the human characters, they had to change them completely. That means take out all the old roles, and replace them with new human roles, actors, whatever you want to call it, supporting actors, all that. They're going to change that all. Glenn and Maggie are not coming back. There is no reason to bring hackers. If they're going to bring Glenn and Maggie back, then you might as well bring in Simmons. And I think I've had enough of him. I do kind of like his character in some way, and then there are moments where I think that he's just too much. They will not bring back previous characters. Trust me on this. And finally, last question comes from Ben Madison. And he says, "Hey Alex, I'd like to see you do a video on this if possible. So I have a question about TF5. How do you bring Optimus Prime back for Transformers 5? With the way Age of Extinction ended, how do you bring Optimus back to Earth without having a massive anticlimax or worse, just no explanation?" Well, I think that they're not going to do just no explanation because they have much better writers working on the story. So they're taking into consideration all the events that happened in Transformers Age of Extinction, especially where they left off. Where did they leave off? Well, Cade Yeager, they're going back to their new home that was bought by the Apple guy. The Apple guy. I mean, the guy that was the evil version of Steve Jobs in Transformers Age of Extinction. Forgot his name. But anyways, so they're going back to his home. I don't know what happened to Shane and Tessa. But as for Optimus Prime, the last thing he did was go to outer space. So here's what could possibly happen. We could start off seeing Optimus Prime in space or on his way to see his creators, or we could start off with Optimus Prime on a planet, or halfway through his travel to the creators, or maybe he's already met the creators, he's on the creator homeworld, and that's where it starts off. That is our first appearance of Optimus Prime. Or now here's the lazy route, and here's the lazy route is what I think might happen. I think there's a good chance that this could happen, and that is Optimus Prime is back on Earth, and he explains what he saw. And what he saw was not good. And then he explains it all in a flashback. So he explains it with, of course, Peter Cullen's narration, his voiceover. And during Peter Cullen's voiceover, we see all these flashbacks of what he saw, as opposed to having a linear storytelling, linear timeline, where we start off with Optimus Prime in space, then we see him come back to Earth, and then it continues from that point on. I don't think we're going to see that. I don't know. Transformers, the live action films are very, very simple films, alright? I don't think they're going to make it that complex. I think what's going to happen, really, in my honest opinion, is that Optimus Prime is back on Earth. And he acknowledges, or rather the storytellers, by storytellers I mean Michael Bay and the writers, they acknowledge the fact that he's already been up there to meet the creators, and then he explains it, and then it's told in a flashback with Peter Cullen's voiceover. That's what I think is going to happen. And then he's going to find out, and during the flashback we're going to see that he found the creators, they no longer exist, or they're not there, but he did find some kind of symbol or some kind of sign or some kind of warning that tells them that something bad is happening. That's what I think is definitely going to happen. Because essentially all these films are about some sort of robotic alien takeover. That's what all these films are about. Okay? Make no mistake about it. Every single Transformers film will be about an alien invasion in the form of these mechanical robot beings. Okay? So, like I said, Optimus Prime found a warning message. That's all he discovers. And I don't think a whole lot of it's going to take place actually in space. The space sequences will all be done in a flashback. And that's how I think they're going to explain it. How do I know that? I don't. It's just my theory. So there you have it. That's all I've really got to say in this video. How do you think they are going to bring back Optimus Prime? Let me know in the comment section below. There's a lot of options out there. There's a lot of available, possible, and potential stories that could happen. Well, let me know what you think could possibly happen with the fate of Optimus Prime after Transformers Age of Extinction. So there you have it. That's all I got to say in this video. We got a lot more videos to do and talk about. So why don't you guys subscribe, make sure you stay tuned, hit that like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation, and also follow me on Twitter at Ragin Nation. My name's Alex. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace. I thought it was going to flop, and Well, first of all, he didn't know anything about the Transformers fan base as a whole.